Coach, what makes the BJC duel such a special event here at Penn State?
Well, it's just something that we look forward to. It's just an opportunity to, more people can get in and watch the team, right? And great matchup with Michigan. They have a really strong team. They're wrestling very, very well. So I think everything just kind of adds up to a great event.
You talked last year about looking into trying to get more duels at the BJC. Is that something that you've continued to look into?
Yes and no. We like wrestling in the BJC. At least like we tried to. I think we could move over there, but there's something about Rec Hall that's going to be hard to get us out of here. This is our home base, right? I mean, this is where we train. Locker rooms here, but BJC's beginning to feel more and more like obviously they're Penn State fans for the majority of them, so it's definitely still our home field, but there's just something about Rec Hall with the closeness and intimacy there that we really enjoy.
But just going back to Bravo Young for a moment, he's obviously not 100%. What do you need to see from him, to be able to wrestle him Friday?
He's just got to be ready to go and be able to wrestle well and be able to defend himself, right? Because it's still early. It's not early, but we still have several weeks before the conference meeting and national tournament. So that's not really a concern. But yeah, I mean, we want him in the lineup because obviously the more matches he gets, the more experience, the better. And Friday with Michich, he's very, very good. So that's a guy we'd like him to get a feel for. So, but yeah, it's got to be. We're not going to throw somebody out there that's not ready to go either.
In a situation
like this point.
In a situation like this, is this something that you can decide day of Friday or?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Does this usually come Thursday night?
It just depends because he's some kids get better and heal faster than others, and he's really responded very well and he's doing pretty darn good actually. So there's a good chance he'll be ready to roll.
Can you give us some updates on Shakur and Brady?
Yeah. Well, Brady we just wanted to give him the weekend off and so that nothing's wrong with him at all. And Shaq, we're optimistic that we'll see him on Friday also.
You look, the last few years, you've always had something going on with either injury or lineup, some sort of distraction. Is that something you just have to deal with, or you know it's going to happen, you just don't know when?
Well, you always hope that you don't have to deal with any adversity, right? That's just how we are. But it's just part of sports and life, right? So it's really not that big of a deal. Like you said, it's something that you generally deal with, and every team is dealing with. So we just have a lot to be grateful for and a lot to be optimistic about. We've got a great team, and we don't have a kid who's anything close to what we had with Nolf last year, right? I mean, that was tough. But yeah, it's just part of the sport.
Cael, you just talked about Nolf last year, and you've talked about adversity the past couple of weeks and how beneficial it's been. How have you seen Nolf, from when he got hurt last year to now this year, take that adversity and use it to kind of get better?
Well, I think if you're facing an injury, you just realize that that you want to compete, right? So maybe before that you're putting a little extra pressure on yourself. I'm not speaking for Nolf. I'm just saying generally, right? Where adversity is usually the great clarifier. Kind of gives you a real idea of what is it that you truly want, because a lot of times you got to fight for what you want, right? I mean, winning a national title is a very competitive thing. There's a lot of individuals, a lot of teams that would love to be the national champions, and that's what makes what we do worthwhile, right? And adversity just reinforces that and clarifies that.
And to follow up on that, have you seen Nolf train any differently, at this point last year when he was hurt up to now?
Nolf's he's a competitor, right? So he's gonna go as hard as he can every day, right? So, but I think last year he had to adjust the way he was wrestling, which was good for him and has benefited him and will benefit him throughout his career moving forward. But yeah, because he's just a guy who, he gets after it and he's throwing himself around, and he still does that to a point. But we saw last year that he can kind of pull the reins back a little bit, be a little more conservative in some of the things that he's doing, and we just saw more than anything just how tough he is as an individual and the strength of character that he has.
What stands out to you most when you look up and down the Michigan lineup?
You just have a lot of very good, experienced wrestlers in the lineup, right? Yeah, I just think Coach Mormet, known him a long time. I think he's a great coach, and they're going to be ready to go. They had a big win last week, right? So I'm sure they're really happy with where they're at, and it just makes things a little bit more exciting, right? They're coming in here to kick our butts, and it makes it more fun for everybody.
Can you talk a bit about how important it was maybe for Devin to get that win Sunday, and then to just leapfrog into the rest of the year?
Yeah, well, hopefully, a lot of what we get is based on our confidence, right? And whether we finish a shot or not, it's a lot of it has to do with whether you believe you're going to or you can. And so hopefully, that success in that Big Ten duel is something that he can build off of it. That's what we're hopeful. But just like everyone else on the team, it's his choice, and we'll see what he does with it.
Cael, the other day, Tyler Berger called Jason Milf out by name on Twitter, and obviously that's something you didn't have to deal with when you were wrestling. What kind of element do you think social media adds? Do you think it creates an extra distraction, and do you have any conversations with your guys about keeping it clean?
Yeah, I don't really follow it too much, right? I mean, I have a Twitter account, but I wouldn't even know how to put it back on my phone. I have a few times, and I'm just social media it's got its place, and there's a purpose for it, but I think you got to be very careful with it, and it's definitely not something that brings the best out of people in general, right? And it's not a key to success, that's for sure, right? It's more about being clear on what you want, and I think that's just part of the culture, right? Our culture is obsessed with comparing and competing and those kind of things, and probably in an unhealthy way. But we don't have to go that way, right? We're not perfect, and we have kids, and I do things, and we make mistakes and say things that we wish we hadn't said maybe, or but it's not that big of a deal, right? I mean, it's your choice to be offended or not in life, and so we don't worry too much about those things.
Vincenzo this year is, I think, second or third in the fall. He's got more pins last year than he did this year. Have you noticed a big change in him?
I think you said it. He's looking for the fall, right? It's just something that when he's wrestling, I don't know if he really did in the past, but he's got a nice series, and he's taking advantage of his time out there trying to lead with team points, and it's been good to see, right? It's a big difference. You put somebody on their back, right? 4 points is it's worth. I mean, I'm not a mathematician, but it helps out the score a lot, right? Especially if you take down and you cut them, that's a 1-pointer, as opposed to a takedown and a turn 6-pointer. It's a big deal, and it definitely separates things, and it's good to see him really attacking that.
Has he been working towards that more this year, or do you think it's kind of just?
Well, I think he has. I think in the national finals last year, right? He got some back points, and that kind of put him in a very comfortable spot in the match against a very good wrestler. And I think a lot of that just comes from him spending a lot of time with Coach Cunningham on the mat, and you're going to benefit from that regardless. And but again, you have to be willing to do that out there, when the lights are on, and he has been. So hopefully he keeps it up.